The newsday continues here on One News Now. I'm Riza Diaz. The Bureau of Internal Revenue is looking to resume its audit of big online shopping sites to prepare for possible collection of taxes. BIR Commissioner Lilia Guillermo said the agency is set to meet with Shopee and Lazada next month. Guillermo said that both shopping sites have yet to submit any data, citing privacy concerns. The agency is also waiting for a law on digital service providers to be passed before it includes online influencers in its audit. President Bongbong Marcos has appointed 3 new officials of the Sugar Regulatory Administration. Malacanang announced that David John Tadeus Alba will be sitting as the acting administrator of the SRA. Alba is the general manager of an independent sugar group in Negros Occidental with at least 10,000 sugar farmer members. Meanwhile, Pablo Luis Azcona and Maria Mitzi Mangwag were appointed as board members for sugar planters and millers respectively. The appointments came after the resignation of officials who signed a supposed unauthorized order for sugar importation. Now we'll be back with more stories after the break. Keep it here on One News. You're still watching One News Now. I'm Riza Diaz. Owners of football giant Manchester United are said to be considering selling a minority stake that could be valued at $6 billion. But how exactly do you value a sports team? Let's watch this.
Sports teams are often bonfires of cash, yet they still change hands for billions of dollars. How can that be? Pro sports are hotter than ever. We've seen acquisitions of the NFL's Denver Broncos, English soccer's Chelsea FC, and Italy's AC Milan. Check out this chart. The $15 billion of deals completed in pro sports by August 2022 were already more than any full year on record. Part of that's to do with it having been easier to borrow money when interest rates were low, coupled with the soaring value of broadcast rights. But even then, how do the new owners of Chelsea, a team that regularly loses more than $100 million a year, decide it's worth more than $3 billion? It's a particularly challenging question in European soccer. When you try to decide how much a business is worth, you tend to look at how much money it's going to make over the next few years and work back from there. If you're confident you can predict how much a company will make in 10 years' time, and that's a high number, then the company gets a high valuation. If you can only predict 2 or 3 years out and it's a low number, the valuation is far, far lower too. In soccer, accurately predicting how much money you're going to make is an all but impossible task. Get relegated to a lower division or fail to qualify for the lucrative Champions League and you might take a $100 million hit to your annual revenue. Sell a star player and you might get a one-off $100 million boost to your revenue. Just look at how annual sales have shaped up at the Italian giant Juventus over the past decade. It's a veritable roller coaster. NFL teams, in stark contrast, enjoy far more stable, predictable earnings. The league shares merchandising and broadcasting revenue pretty evenly across the league, so the teams have good visibility on how much money they're going to receive. At the same time, there's a salary cap, so they've also got a good sense of how much money they're going to spend. That's why NFL teams get such high valuations. Soccer teams are trickier, but there is a solution of sorts. It's known as the Markham multivariate model, named after this guy, Tom Markham, who developed it a decade ago as a PhD student. It's a kind of complicated equation that looks like this. It starts by looking at the value of the club's assets, its playing squad, its stadium and other facilities, and how much money it's able to generate from those assets. But it then adds in a few other variables that help gauge how well run the club is and how popular it is. By looking at what percentage of the stadium is filled in an average game, you can get a sense of how well the club is managing to attract fans. A higher percentage means it's more popular and perhaps better run, therefore it generates a higher valuation. The percentage wage ratio, meanwhile, looks at how much of the club's income is used to pay the playing squad. A higher percentage means the club may not be run very efficiently, so its earnings may not be as sustainable, and therefore generates a lower valuation. Is this a perfect solution? No. But it is a formula that a lot of would-be sports team owners use. Ultimately, the answer to the question, what is a sports team worth, is, well, whatever somebody is willing to pay for it. But in order to get to that number, you need a starting point. And that's what the model provides.
Meanwhile, Europe's brutal drought has brought different bodies of water into their lowest levels, revealing historical artifacts that were previously submerged. In Caceres, Spain, the Valdecañas reservoir water receded, exposing the rarely visible dolmen of Guadalajara, also called the Spanish Stonehenge. The monolithic stone structures are believed to date back to 5000 BC. Meanwhile, in Germany, River Rhine also dropped to unusually low levels, revealing sunken boulders with decades-old dates carvings. Let's now take a quick look at today's other top stories. Soft drinks giant Coca-Cola says the local beverage industry needs 450,000 metric tons of premium refined sugar to meet consumer demand. Industry stakeholders previously agreed to import 150,000 metric tons of sugar as proposed by President Bongbong Marcos. The Social Welfare Department has clarified that 4-piece recipients are not eligible to receive the agency's educational cash aid. DSWD Secretary Erwin Tulfo made the clarification after thousands flocked to DSWD field offices on Saturday hoping to receive cash assistance. And Team Philippines will begin its ABC Cup campaign without the help of key players. Alyssa Valdez backed out from the 9-day event due to dengue, while Risa Sato is also out for health reasons. Philippines will face Vietnam later tonight at 7 p.m. And those are the top stories of the hour. Join us later at 12 noon as we continue to monitor the day's biggest stories. You can also catch One News on Signal Play app. Register for a free account now at www.signalplay.com and stream One News live anytime, anywhere. I'm Riza Diaz. Mask on, wash hands, and stay safe, Philippines. We are One News.